50 Cent has revealed why Diddy didn't appear in the unredacted files connected to Jeffrey Epstein. And once you start connecting the dots, from hidden footage to testimonies and powerful Hollywood ties, the story takes a deeper turn. With his upcoming documentary, 50 Cent claims he's ready to expose major names and uncover who was really pulling the strings behind Epstein's private island, what truly happened there, and why certain high-profile figures were never officially listed.
One person who wasn't in the Epstein files was Diddy. And this person said the reason why Diddy wasn't in these files was because he was his competition. So I was like, man,
he was whose competition?
Epstein.
Oh,
Diddy was Epstein's competition.
No way.
Diddy wasn't at none of the Epstein parties or at the island.
That's crazy.
Just a week ago, the Department of Justice released more than 3 million pages of records, nearly 2,000 videos, and around 180,000 images tied to investigations involving Jeffrey Epstein. While many documents had previously been heavily redacted, the unredacted files revealed Epstein's connections to some of the most powerful figures in the world. One name people expected, but didn't see, was Diddy, who was arrested nearly a year ago and has faced over 100 lawsuits accusing him of serious abuse. That absence raised questions, especially since his longtime associate Jay-Z appears multiple times in the files. In one document, a banking executive allegedly claims that entertainment culture helped pacify public unrest, even referencing Jay-Z's influence. Some online sources speculate that references to a repeatedly redacted third individual in meetings with Epstein could explain the missing name, and when you start connecting those patterns, the situation becomes even more complex.
Now, this is a tip back in 2009 that was sent to the FBI that references Jay-Z, Harvey Weinstein, and Pusha T. It says, on July 10th of 2019 at 8:20 a.m. Eastern Time, someone called the FBI National Threat Operations Center to identify herself as a victim of abuse by Jeffrey Epstein and others. This person said in approximately 1994, she revealed herself as a past victim of abuse by Epstein. She described the abuse that occurred during parties, and she also described someone as a friend of someone. In approximately 1996, she revealed that she resided with someone somewhere. An unknown man abducted someone from her home when she later awoke in the presence of Harvey Weinstein and Sean Carter, known as Jay-Z. This person claimed that Harvey Weinstein inserted his fingers into... She believed that she was in Epstein's mansion in Florida. This person estimated that she was abducted on 7 occasions, awaking each time in an indoor setting. She said that she suffered abuse on multiple of those occasions in which Epstein participated. She claims that she recalled Leon Black and William Barr, the current United States Attorney General, being present during some of the occasions of the abuse.
50 Cent reacted to Jay-Z being mentioned in the files by announcing plans for a new documentary. Just weeks earlier, he had already revealed that he was working on part 2 of his project focused on Diddy, promising to expose even more high-profile names and claiming to have over 300 hours of unreleased footage that allegedly implicates powerful figures. Some believe this upcoming release could attempt to draw connections between Jay-Z, Diddy, and Jeffrey Epstein. Given that Diddy and Epstein reportedly moved within similar elite social circles and crossed paths with many of the same influential people, questions continue to surface about how their worlds could overlap so closely without any documented interaction.
You know 50 Cent was somewhere stretching his fingers like, another post. 50 probably woke up, saw the headlines and said, God is good. 50 Cent jumped on Instagram and posted the article on his page and wrote the caption, I know I'm late on this, but this is kind of crazy. What do you do to get thrown into that mix? Then he posted a picture of Jay-Z and wrote the caption, damn, they got my man Jay in the Epstein files. I gotta do a doc on this. Bro, don't tell me you about to do a Jay-Z documentary that's gonna be even more spicier than the Diddy one you dropped. Now, we all know that 50 lives for moments like this. This is like Christmas, Thanksgiving, and tax season combined in one. 50 don't even need facts. He needs content.
Some commentators have claimed that Diddy and Jeffrey Epstein had more in common than people realize, pointing to overlapping elite circles and similar allegations surrounding surveillance and secrecy. However, there is no verified evidence that either man was an asset for a foreign government or that they were working together. In past interviews, Suge Knight made controversial claims suggesting Diddy had ties to federal authorities, including speculation about surveillance at his properties. But these statements remain unproven. Epstein's case files did confirm that cameras were found in his residences, and multiple victims testified they were recorded, though the full extent and purpose of those recordings have been the subject of ongoing legal scrutiny. Claims that such footage was systematically used for blackmail have circulated widely online, yet many of these allegations remain disputed or unsubstantiated by official findings.
Jeffrey Epstein's victims have long said they believe they were being filmed by the sex offender. And this footage from a spy cam-style camera inside Epstein's Palm Beach house appears to show just that. The footage has been obtained for the first time by Channel 4 News. Because the quality is so grainy, during our investigation we analysed it frame by frame, and we've slowed it down here so that you can see what's happening. A man, likely Epstein himself, at one point looks towards the hidden device. Images of what seems to be his accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, as well as what appears to be several women or girls. So how do we know what this is and where it comes from? Epstein's Palm Beach property was raided by law enforcement in 2005, where police filmed this footage. Pause it here. You can see his office in the corner of the ground floor living area. This is the exact same office captured in the spy cam footage.
Online speculation has suggested that Jeffrey Epstein and Diddy may have been connected through overlapping elite circles, with some conspiracy theories claiming they were involved in coordinated blackmail schemes, though there is no verified evidence confirming such collaboration. Rumors had surrounded Epstein for years before his arrest, much like the long-standing allegations that have followed Diddy. Recently, Nicki Minaj posted a series of tweets referencing Epstein's alleged ties to the entertainment industry and criticizing powerful figures, including Jay-Z, while also speaking about industry sabotage, contract disputes, and political frustrations. Her statement sparked intense debate online, but many of the broader claims circulating on social media about Hollywood's inner workings remain unproven and highly controversial.
Here's what Nicki Minaj had to say. She wrote, "Your favorite artist has been practicing rituals in a satanic cult where they take babies from other countries and mutilate and kill them as a form of blood sacrifice to their god. You see, when your master is Satan, you must constantly shed blood. However, the jig is up." And yeah, she's not the first person in Hollywood to say that. I just don't know how much could be in our face anymore before we wake up and realize these people are ruling over us and they win when we're fighting with each other. That's just the reality. I really don't see how you can have a ton of success in Hollywood and not be in the club, because Hollywood was founded upon this. I just don't really care what you call me. It's time for everyone to wake up.
Some critics argue that rumors linking Jay-Z to powerful and controversial circles have circulated for years, yet no formal charges or verified evidence have emerged against him. In the past, Kanye West publicly called out both Jay-Z and Pusha T, making statements that fueled online speculation long before any files were released. However, those remarks were never backed by official findings, and the broader allegations remain unproven.
People like Jay-Z and Pusha T, they made their living killing our people. So how the fuck they gonna stand up for our people? You know what I'm saying? But we forget that because we love Jay-Z's music so much. We love Pusha's music so much, right? But you think they would ever, Beyonce had the best fit for somebody else? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You think they would ever tell the truth? No, if they told the truth, they'd go to jail. You know what I'm saying? So you have liars. Man. Liars are now the face of our culture.
Some commentators argue that Jay-Z is only one of many high-profile figures whose names have circulated in discussions about the Jeffrey Epstein files. The document releases have fueled debate about the extent of Epstein's connections across business, politics, and international elites, and the controversy hasn't been limited to the United States. In the United Kingdom, Prince Andrew has faced significant scrutiny over his past association with Epstein, including previously reported photographs and allegations that became part of the broader public discussion. While these revelations intensified global attention on powerful institutions, the legal outcomes and verified findings vary, and many claims continue to be disputed.
Let's bring in writer and broadcaster Esther Krakow joining us from the UK. Esther, this is a shocker. He is a disgrace. What more can the royal family do? They obviously want him to hide from public sight forever.
Yeah, I think the latest basically series of the Jeffrey Epstein files is kind of what pushed the king over the edge. And I'm sure he's kind of slowly losing his mind because they wish the scandal would go away. But obviously the complete lack of judgment by the Yorkses, so Sarah Ferguson and the prince formerly known as Andrew, has just kind of made this much worse. I mean, I would say this latest entrancement has shown actually the greed of Sarah Ferguson. But on Prince Andrew, there was a picture that is now circulating of him on all fours hovering over a woman that we don't know, that is not moving. And obviously this doesn't necessarily suggest any wrongdoing, but it just shows the kind of the degree of his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. And I think the real scandal that people just can't get over is the fact that he actually repeatedly denied having any sort of contact with Jeffrey Epstein after his conviction for pedophilia and and that's clearly proven to be false. Even Sarah Ferguson, in an email exchange a couple of years, I believe, after he was convicted, said that she wanted to be his pet. So clearly this is not someone who had disavowed this man until they actually had a public falling out, I think in 2011, where they severed the ties completely.
See, some of these Sarah Ferguson emails are pretty disturbing too. It seems that she's aware at least of the role of girls and beautiful women in all of this. She seems to be encouraging and even offering up people.
Before examining any additional names, it's important to recognize the seriousness of the allegations contained within materials related to Jeffrey Epstein. Among the disturbing claims that have circulated is a diary entry reportedly written in 2002 by an alleged victim, stating she gave birth as a teenager and accusing Epstein of forcing repeated pregnancies, with children allegedly taken from her or pregnancies terminated. These claims are extremely grave and have been widely discussed online. However, they stem from victim testimony and allegations that require careful verification through official investigations and court findings.
Jeffrey Epstein had a secret child who was taken from its teenage mother at birth. This according to newly unearthed documents from the investigation into Epstein's crimes. Buried in the latest batch of the Epstein files are claims that Epstein fathered multiple children, including one by a teenager. In an anonymous diary entry, a woman describes how at 16 or 17 years old, she gave birth to a baby who was taken away from her just moments after delivery. Included is a copy of a pregnancy scan dated to 20 weeks gestation. She alleges Ghislaine Maxwell supervised the birth and writes that Epstein told her he wanted to create a superior gene pool. The diary was shared by the woman's lawyers, with federal prosecutors investigating Epstein and Maxwell. The Times was able to confirm the woman's real name, but has chosen to protect her identity. I was not able to verify the woman's claims, and if true, what happened to the newborn. It's never been publicly confirmed that Epstein fathered any children, and there's no mention of any offspring in a will he drew up in the years before his 2019 death in a New York prison cell. But several names in the will have been redacted.
Allegations of this nature have surfaced more than once in discussions surrounding Jeffrey Epstein. Some commentators claim that in past interviews, Epstein made disturbing statements that critics interpret as self-incriminating, though the context and accuracy of those interpretations remain heavily debated. Certain documents and testimonies have fueled speculation about pregnancies and missing details that were not fully unredacted in public file releases. What is confirmed is that Epstein was formally charged with federal sex trafficking offenses involving minors before his death in 2019, and prosecutors alleged he operated a wide-ranging abuse network. Reports also indicate that prior to his death, investigators were continuing to examine potential co-conspirators, though the full extent of that inquiry remains a matter of public and legal scrutiny.
It's to be some of those videos in these latest releases, and we can play a couple of minutes of that now, in which Epstein discusses being a sex offender.
Is your money dirty money?
If you live,
I just asked a question. Is your money dirty money?
No, it's not. So, in fact,
why is it not dirty money?
Because I earned it.
But you earned it. We went back to this before. You earned it. You earned it advising the worst people in the world, right? That do enormous bad things, and just to make more money.
So, instead of asking me the question, should you take the money? Because I think it's a legitimate question.
You think it's a legitimate question?
Yes, no
Why?
question. Because I think ethics is always a complicated subject. But I can tell you that with the money I gave to help try to eradicate polio in Pakistan and India, instead of asking me whether that money should be given to these children for vaccines, I think you might want to ask their mothers who received the vaccine, who know their child now won't get polio, and ask them if Epstein should have helped these people.
Next on the list of high-profile figures tied to discussions about Jeffrey Epstein is Bill Gates. Among the documents released were 2 emails dated August 18, 2013, including one resembling a resignation letter from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, which referenced arranging medical care for Gates related to encounters with women from Russia. While the unredacted files have fueled speculation online that Gates used Epstein to connect with women, many of these claims remain unverified. Gates' ex-wife, Melinda French Gates, told NPR that the document release brought up painful memories from their marriage, noting that the Epstein connection contributed to marital tensions that ultimately led to their divorce.
Said the release of the documents brought up memories of their marital struggles.
Here's Bill Gates responding. Go ahead, Rob.
To a lot of very rich people, and he was saying he could get them to give money to global health. You know, in retrospect, that was a dead end, and I was foolish to spend time with him. I was one of many people who regret ever knowing him.
You've no doubt seen the allegations, including some of them from the last 24 to 48 hours. Are they true?
No, apparently Jeffrey wrote an email to himself.
Draft.
That email was never sent. The email is, false. So I don't know what his thinking was there. It just reminds me, every minute I spent with him, I regret and I, apologize that I did that.
The problem is some of the things that he has sent, some of the information about other people that has come up in those files has been true. Why would he do this and say this about you, Did?
It's factually true that I was only at dinners. I never went to the island. I never met any women. And so, the more that comes out, the more clear it'll be that although the time was a mistake, it had nothing to do with that kind of behavior.
Some of the latest Jeffrey Epstein file releases suggest that high-ranking U.S. officials may have had more involvement than previously reported. According to emails, Howard Lutnick allegedly brought his family to Epstein's private island in 2012, contradicting earlier statements that he had cut ties years prior. One December 2012 email from Lutnick's wife, Allison, reportedly invited Epstein to lunch on the eve of the visit, saying, "We are looking forward to visiting you and would love to join you for lunch." During congressional testimony in February 2026, Lutnick confirmed the trip publicly for the first time, stating that he, his wife, their 4 children, and nannies spent about an hour on the island. Speculation has also surrounded Elon Musk, the former head of the Department of Government Efficiency, who allegedly sent emails requesting invitations from Epstein, fueling further debate about the extent of his interactions with the financier.
And a top Justice Department official says the review of the Jeffrey Epstein files is over. The same official indicated there would be no new charges. Now the Trump administration is facing backlash from Epstein survivors and Democrats. This was California Congressman Ro Khanna yesterday.
There is a demand for elite accountability, but the survivors' lawyers that I've talked to have said that the survivors are still upset. They're upset that many of their names accidentally came out without redactions, and they want to make sure the rest of the files come out.
CBS News Justice correspondent Scott MacFarlane joins us from our Washington bureau with more on this. Scott, you've been sifting through as much of this as you can. What's in this so-called final batch?
It's a process. We're still working through millions of pages here, Errol. And it's worth noting these were released more than 40 days after the legal deadline for the Department of Justice to do so. No one besides Epstein and former associate Ghislaine Maxwell has been charged, but the Department of Justice insisting its work is done has only fueled more controversy.
As more documents emerge and responses continue to surface, the conversation is shifting from mere shock to questions of accountability. Being named in the files is one thing, being truly connected is another, but the real story lies in understanding the system that made all of this possible. For updates on 50 Cent's upcoming documentary, detailed breakdowns of the latest file releases, and an in-depth look at how these connections intertwine, subscribe and turn on notifications. Share your thoughts in the comments. Do you see this as coincidence, social overlap, or something far more deliberate?